Today on DoodleDrawArt, we're going to draw a vintage Valentine. Some of you may remember this cute deer Valentine from maybe 30 years ago. I'm going to start off by drawing the heart that's in the background. Just sketch it in. And then we're going to draw a circle for the deer's head, the baby fawn. Make a nice circle. And now I'm going to draw in the ears, one in front and one behind. And now the antlers have circles on his head and some letter Y's for his tiny little baby antlers. And then inside his ear we have another similar shape. And now for his nose, come right down around his face and then point out and draw his jaw underneath. It's as simple as that. Now there's some shading and coloration on his face that goes over from his nose and then up over his eye and then down in his mouth area. The eye is oval shape with an eyelash that comes right across with his eyelid. And then here's the inside of the eye, and there'll be a little spot of white. And a really cute little smile, turned up at the corner. And then it curves in here just a bit, just to establish that shape. That'll be better. Alright, so now his neck curves down here. And you can see another line here where the shading changes color on his neck. And he's wearing a big blue bow tie. So we'll sketch that in. And I'm going to leave part of the line off because there's a big heart in front of him. Blocks off a little piece of his necktie. Now I'm going to draw an oval where his body's going to go. I'm just going to shorten it up a little bit here. It's a bit too big. There we go. That's a bit better. And then his tail comes up into a point and then back down. And we'll draw one of his back legs pointing down toward his hoof. And then back in around his ankle, and then back up around the curve of the oval. And then his belly arches away from where his leg meets at the top here. And from behind, another L shape for his back leg, wider at the ankle and narrower. I never know if I should call those knees or ankles. I guess they're knees that point backwards. Now for his front legs. His chest comes down from here, and then his legs are going to come through. But he's standing a little bit with his legs apart, so let's just establish that first with some diagonal lines. This one crosses in front of his back leg, and this other one stands out to the side. So now we're going to come from the top, get wider at the knee, and then same thing on this side, wider at the knee, and then wider at the end of the hoof. The actual Valentine, he has little V-shaped at the end of his hoof, but I'm just going to draw flat bottoms, I think. But right in here, there's like a V shape. Alright, so I'm just going to refine the shape of this heart a little bit, make it fatter across the bottom, and the same with this one. I'm just going to bring it around so that I'm a little happier with where it's shaped behind the deer. Alright, so now we're ready to outline our final shapes with the black marker. You can pause and check your work. And I'll just do this in a bit of time lapse. Going over all of my final lines, there will be some sketch marks left behind from the heart that's in the background and from some of my sketch lines for the legs. I'm drawing all of the things in the foreground first so that I make sure that I'm only doing the lines that I want to see in the foreground, and then moving towards the background so they go in behind. And the heart. I use my thick Sharpie for some of his eye, and then I'm going to use my fine point Sharpie just along the inside edge of the eyeball. It's almost time for me to get a new marker. This one's getting a little bit picky about how it likes to write. So I'm making sure that I leave room for a little bit of light shining in his eye. And now I'm going to erase all of my sketch marks, and this is when it's really going to start to pop. And now it's time to color our deer. I'm just going to color his nose with marker, and I'm going to use crayon. Brown for the deer's body, and I'm using some darker pressure for some shading around the edges. And then some gentle shading for the areas that are not in shadow. And because it's a fawn, he's got little white spots, which I'm just going to outline before I color. And I'm using my black Sharpie for his hoofs. I've also drawn a line to show where the white on his belly is and the white on the inside of one of his back legs. I'm just going to use a pencil and write the saying on the Valentine. So on the bigger heart, it's going to say, "You're a deer." And I'm writing it in the same font that was used on the vintage Valentine that I was referring to for this project. And there was a little dashed line here. Not sure why, but there was, so I'll put it there as well. And then there's some little serifs, little edges on these letters. I'll just extend them through. And then it's going to say in smaller letters down here, alright, "Be my Valentine." These vintage Valentines always had such a charming personality. Very sweet and innocent. A little bit of blue on his eye, and blue for his bow tie. And then using marker for my lettering. Using a fine point on my smaller heart and on these letters. And then for the word deer, it was a little bolder, so I'm using my regular Sharpie for this. And then coloring red on the hearts. And I'm just going to color in green background. I'm actually going to mark a few of the lines of grass that are showing on my original Valentine. And of course, back in the day, Valentines were never square. They were always the same shape as the artwork. So I'm just going to cut out around my deer. I hope you enjoyed watching me draw this vintage Valentine. I hope you drew one too, and give one to your Valentine. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would love it. And if you liked watching this video, please click like. You can find me on social media, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr at DoodleDrawArt. Thanks for watching.